good project, right? And it ran really low during like summertime, Q2, Q3 this year. Ran to like 20, 30 cents, and then just completely skyrocketed after the election. And then obviously when we had the next pump up on like the 20th. Yeah, chart's really good. If you look at the all-time high versus current price, I mean all-time high is like $6, right? I think
Uh,
as we're flipping resistance into support now, you zoom out, it does look quite a good chart.
it's essentially just somewhat like this. I mean, it's either 13 or $7, yeah,
Mm.
depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it looks really good, but I am pretty sad that I didn't get it on that garden because that would have been like one
That
of
would
the
have
easiest
been
longs ever.
lovely. Yeah.
Let's look at this, right?
Well,
Even
that's
taking
insane.
even taking a very conservative long, because usually nowadays I just put my stop loss. Why is it over there? I put my stop loss like slightly below this box, but even if I didn't, just put
Mm.
it over here.
Yeah,
Unbelievable,
Yeah,
10% stop loss.
because it
That would have
just
been
keeps
lovely.
going.
bro, there was a
4x.
5x. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This coin is blacklisted. No, but if you
Because just because we missed the trade, huh?
talking about the all-time high coins, like the coins that are super far away from all-time high. Look at what Filecoin is doing. Because Filecoin has the same, right? Filecoin's all-time high is 236.
Yo,
Filecoin
bro.
is up. I gave this entry to a few friends, but Filecoin is like sending it from the lows.
Well, to be fair, this could turn out to be something like Link, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
If
But
if
because
you
I mean,
remember Link, you remember Link from, what was it, last year, when it broke out from that stupidly big consolidation.
well, I don't really remember, but I know what the chart looks like because back then I
Well,
was
well,
back
it
then I
looks the
didn't know what
same.
I was doing.
It was like a multi-year consolidation or something like that.
A multi-year consolidation? Oh, no way.
Way, or was it just 1 year? I'm not sure. Yeah, you can look at it if you want, but regardless, it looked very, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
that
mean
was
it's
1 year
very
old.
obvious. This is just pure accumulation.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
Filecoin looks the same, to be fair.
all valid as well. That's one of the reasons why it's just sending this hard now. Wait, there's a
Mm.
284 already. I am gonna be like I told you guys like literal months ago. I'm gonna be so annoying when this is trading above 300 because I've only sold 20% of my total bag of this. Like I still hold everything from 80. Okay. Anyway, let's look at some tickers. So I didn't have anything planned at all for this stream. Um, because overall we went over a lot already. We went over a lot of concepts that we wanted to talk about in the past few weeks. So I don't really have anything. So what I was thinking is we just take a look at what's called. We take a look at Bitcoin and then we just take some coin requests. So I'm gonna go over Bitcoin and then you guys can put some coins in the chat later and we're gonna take a look at those. Okay. So first of all, let's take a look at BTC. I'm gonna go onto a fresh chart for this. That is not a fresh chart at all. Fresh enough. So first of all, whenever I look at this BTC chart, I want to see a few things. First of all, we are trading below a very important level. If we take the old all-time high to the bear market lows, we are now trading at the macro 1.618. For those of you that joined the past streams, you know that whenever we look at price discovery coins, we look at a few things. We look at the 1272 if we react. We didn't. Absolutely no reaction. Then we look at the 1.618. The 1.618 almost only always reacts. And it doesn't matter what ticker it is. It can be the SPX, it can be gold, but it can also be PopCat or whatever meme coin you have. The 1.618 almost always reacts. And we are at that level right now. We did go slightly above it, tried to flip it into support, but didn't truly do so because we started closing below it right after. We are currently coming up back for a retest. So I will already say this. If you think the market's going to go down, this is not a bad area for shorts. This area, it makes a lot of sense to be shorting here. However, I would be careful because there is a good chance that we just get kind of a wick into this area. We just wick into that, start closing below. So there is a good chance if you just place your stops over here that you get wicked out. However, to anyone trying to hedge shorts or trying to take profits here, this is a good level to do so. Now, do I recommend that? Not really. I don't think that's going to happen. I will short if we sweep this and then start closing below. That's when I will short. But at the moment, I don't have any reason to actually start shorting. Because overall, we don't really have any harmonics that are leading up to this level. We have a deep crab right over here at 1.618. Over here. Over at 105k. But that's about it. We don't really have any bearish harmonics forming in this range because it is just kind of going up. So you don't really get any W shapes. Here's your one W shape. And we might be making a second one, but that is very speculative. So no clue. Now what I will say is, apart from that, we do have a rather important level right over here. That is, if you take a fib from kind of the start of this upwards consolidation, of this vertical accumulation, to the top of this, then we have a nice little deviation pocket here. This range is getting respected really well. How do we know that? We know that by, first of all, if we draw the range, we can kind of backtest it with the 0.5 and see, hey, the 0.5 in the past has been an important level. Because over here, this is where we stopped consolidating. Nice resistance tap, flipped it to support, then went higher. It is not perfect because the 0.5 is not a level we can reliably trade. But this does show us that this range is going to work out. Now, when we trade ranges, something I like to do is I pay a lot of attention to this little area. The 1272 to 1.314, or the other way around, right? These are the same levels. It's completely symmetrical fib. And we did get the tap into that, close below, and then went lower. So, if we do get into this area again, that is a massive area of interest for shorts, and this area is. So I would say, essentially, if we start seeing reactions here, that's when I would look for shorts. Apart from that, I don't think we have a reason to do so. And the reason why I don't think we do is because if we simply look at market structure, one of the most fundamental TA aspects, right? No matter what system you trade, market structure will give you a really good hand into knowing what side you want to go on. What do we see? We have a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low. This was a lower high, but it didn't matter, right? Because we didn't actually form a low after that. So this is our low, high, and then another low. This is just uptrending. That's simple. So do we have to start actively looking for shorts? We don't. Now, if we start closing below this level, then that will change things. If we start closing below that, you can now make an argument that, hey, we now have a downtrend, and then you want to start looking for shorts. But for now, we simply look for longs. All right. As for BTC, there's really not much more to update because this chart doesn't look that interesting. We might have tapped 100k, but overall this chart is just consolidating. It is kind of just consolidating. I think we will keep consolidating here, but I don't think a lot is going to happen on this chart. Now, what it is interesting, way more interesting, is Ethereum. And I'm going to go into a pre-made chart for this one, just my macro ETH chart. because ETH is at a very interesting level. When we look at this chart, and bear with me because there's a lot of lines on the chart, right? For those of you that are new here, I trade FIB-related systems, so you might not recognize everything. How you can easily translate it to traditional systems is by looking at it like this. These boxes are important levels on the chart. These are both support and resistance. So when we come from below, it is resistance. When we come from the top, like over here, it is support. And these diagonal lines, they are simply trend lines. In reality, they are FIB fans, right? But we can treat them like trend lines. They're very similar. So, why do I say that the Ethereum chart is a lot more interesting? First of all, as you can see, we have entered macro resistance in my eyes. Yeah, what's up, Dino? The reason why this is macro resistance is because this cipher is spanning all the way from the old all-time high to the bear market lows. That is an incredibly important price leg. So when we look at the cipher, when we had the first interaction with this box, we rejected really harsh. We rejected, went for TP1, came back, tapped it again, went for TP2. This is what you call a type 2 reaction. Long story short, it is just when you get two entries on the same level. We are here for a third time now. Now, this doesn't have to react because we already did so twice. There's no reason for us to assume that it's going to react, which is why we're not shorting. Because if it wasn't, we would have just shorted like this. But we're not doing that. Why? Because, first of all, already tapped it twice, so we don't know for sure if it's going to react or not. And second of all, because I want to see the reaction to these highs. I think these highs get taken at least. And depending on that, I think we get a really good indication of what Ethereum is going to do. Because we can do two things. One, we can go above it. We can get for a retest and then go up. That's very possible. And if that's the case, I think Ethereum is easily going to make new highs. I think this is the last level for all-time high. After that, this is an anti-bat. The answer is barely valid. I'm mostly looking at this butterfly right over here. So, if we flip this box to support, I think Ethereum can very easily go to about 6K. Now, if we don't do that, we can potentially get the same thing that Sol did. And first of all, why are people just like exploding fireworks outside? It's like several months to New Year. Okay. Did you notice a higher success rate and more symmetrical patterns? Yeah, typical Dutch thing, I know. No, okay. I will get into that in a bit, because that is an interesting topic, but in general, no. Time doesn't really matter for what's called for harmonics. You can do some time analysis on it, and in some cases it kind of does matter, but the levels are more important. Okay, so as for Ethereum, the other option, so what I've shown, is that we do this. This was Solana's old all-time high. Now, when we tap that level, we came into it, we wicked the high, and we closed below. And not only that, but we closed on a doji. This candle indicates indecisiveness. This is an SFP, a swing failure pattern. And it's up to Peter. And what that means is that essentially we are saying, okay, we tapped a very important level. We took out all of the shorters that had their stops there. And we did not accept above. If you don't accept above, where do you go? You go lower. And in that case, you can short with stops above the wick. We did this. I eventually exited this because I had my fan misplaced. Because we were flipping this to support. And I was like, hey, that's not good. I had it misplaced. Very sad. But anyway, this was the short we could have taken, and then this was going to be the first TP. Now, we don't want this on Ethereum, because Ethereum is at a very important macro level, and for alts to continue running, we really need Ethereum to succeed. However, we don't get to choose what the market's going to do. So if this happens, if we take this high on the daily and we close below, I will short. Because long story short, the charts are telling you you don't belong above this level. If that happens, where do you belong? Below the level. So if that happens, we short. If this happens, we long. This is simply an area where we wait for the market to decide what it wants to do. So that is it in my eyes for Ethereum, and because Ethereum is essentially just a macro resistance, I am not looking. That's why I didn't long the dip this morning, because I was like, Ethereum is over here. I don't want to long when Ethereum is at this level. I don't want to open new longs. Now, when we start flipping this, that's when I will happily open new longs. Okay, so far, apart from the question about symmetry, are there any questions about any of this? Yeah, I always enjoy that because it's the only way for me to properly get time to take a drink. Okay, so because of that question, I'm going to show a chart that has a very extreme example of exactly what you are not implying. I'm going to go on DYM. Let's see, I think it's this chart. I do have it on a different layout. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one, okay. It's a, what's it called, a play I gave to my students. Let's see, if I just remove this. Wait, is it not DYM? No, okay, then W has it as well. Have it on this one? No, this one. Too many layouts. It's a very, very old idea. There it is. This is a valid harmonic. Now, this harmonic is entirely valid, but I am not trading it. Why is that? That is because in extreme examples, it does kind of matter. The ratios might be valid, and if you go onto like a 5-minute chart, the placements are valid. I did check it. I made this to explain other stuff. And as you can see, we entered this area, had an initial reaction, consolidated, and flipped it to support right over here, and it went up. This harmonic worked out, even though it is entirely unsymmetrical. This harmonic is unbelievably ugly, yet it worked. And that is because horizontal fibs only take horizontal levels into account. Now, harmonics like these are less reliable, but that is not because of the symmetry. That is because we cannot see the highs and lows on the chart. So that means that other people will also not see the highs and lows on the chart, because fibs are dependent on human psychology. So if no one can see the highs and lows, then we don't know for sure if it's going to react. Now, I will say it reacted. Why? Because everyone can see this. Binance is a very popular exchange, so we can assume that the listing wick also has value. And look at that. That is the 886. This is the level that we're actually reacting on. So it does work, even if it's not symmetrical. But in very extreme cases like this, it works a little less. On any other case, like for example that Ethereum cipher, it works completely fine. So in general, not really, except for extreme cases. In most cases, they work about the same, depending on how symmetrical they are. In extreme cases, like this, they work less. Can you share what are the cipher areas again? Just support and resistance. How are they derived? Sure. So, are you asking for the levels so you can put them on your own chart, or are you asking how did I get the levels and what is it? Like essentially, what is a cipher? Which tool was that? What tool are you talking about? This one? Essentially, what is a cipher? Okay. I'm going to give you a quick explanation because I have given a video on this, but essentially how harmonics work is an entire video. That is like, what is it, like, I think the video is like 2.5 hours long. So I cannot give the entire explanation, but I will give you a quick rundown. Because there's also just a lot of new people here. So what harmonics are, and I'm going to choose a different example. I'm going to choose width. Is chart empty? Yeah, empty enough. Goodbye. I'm going to choose width. What are harmonics? Harmonics are essentially a few things together. They are one, partially Elliott waves. They have a little bit of Elliott waves in it, but mostly Gartleys. Gartleys are, in simpler terms, M-shapes. They say the markets move in waves of 5. So if you have one price leg, 2, 3, 4, then you know the fifth is going to go up. That's aspect number 1 of them. That's why everything is a W or an M shape. Aspect number 2, and the most important one, is fibs. When we pull a fib from the low to the high, we can see, hey, these levels look pretty good. 707 is holding really strong. 786 is where we bottomed out. And even when we go up, flip this to support first. Nice flip over here, and we're currently consolidating on the 302. That's the second part. Now, the last one is something that we call an ABCD. And this is a very, very old chart pattern. And this is a chart pattern that's completely forgotten in time, even though it's really simple. Essentially, what an ABCD is, and it works really well, is if we have a price leg like this, and you start going up, the moment you start dropping again, people are going to look on the left and see, hey, last time we went down this far. So what if I place that over here? And I literally just place that on top of the wick over there. And you see, hey, that is essentially where we bottomed out. Your wick very slightly lower, right? Because this is an index chart. If I go into the actual Binance chart that people actually use, you can see this is the exact same amount. Exactly minus 2,700 and exactly minus 2,700. It was literally like $11 apart. That is the third part. This is what we call a lightning pattern. This is a very old chart pattern. Like from back in the day where people had to do it on pen and paper, where TradingView didn't exist, right? Where charting programs didn't exist. People forgot this pattern, but this works really well. If you have a move that goes down 3k and the next price leg goes down 3k as well, there's a good chance you just react there. So in this case, let's do it on Ethereum, for example. If we ever get to this level, where is that? Like 5,300, there's a good chance we react there. Because that is simply going to be this price leg, and then again. That is the third one. Now, why I say that harmonics are all of that combined, this is what I mean. When we draw a harmonic, in this case a Gartley, I will pull it up on the screen as well. 1 second. When we draw a Gartley, I'm obviously cheating. I know that there's a Gartley here already, right? Let's do it like this. When we draw a Gartley, we can simply take the highs and the lows, place it in an M shape, and you will see, hey, if everything corresponds, so this is a 618, this is between a 382 and an 886, this is between a 113 and a 1618, and this is a 786 right over there. If all of that happens, that is where we react. It's all of that combined. You have your lightning pattern right over here. You have your fib from X to A, that's right here. And you have your M-shaped Gartley pattern right over there. That's harmonics in like 10 minutes. If you want the full explanation, because I explain everything about how they work, how you draw them, etc., I have a video on that in my channel somewhere. It's in, I have it in my pinned messages, actually, I'll link it. Let me find it. I think it's this one. Yeah, that's my channel, yeah. Okay, see, it was fibs on the width candle, which was the top, correct? Yeah, in general for fibs, you can take old price tags for very accurate levels. So you take essentially the all-time low on this chart, right? It went lower, it started lower. From over here to over here. It's a very significant price hike, so we can always use that for reference. Just like that. And that's a very standard fibs, right? Because it's a bit more easy on the eye. This is my full fib preset. So you can actually get proper positions with this. The moment you close above this golden pocket, could have taken this long. Didn't do this because we were already exposed pretty heavily, but that was the play essentially. Okay, I think that that answered the questions, right? Yes, sir. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's take a look at some of the coin requests. Uni and Tia. Okay, let's take a look at Tia first. Favoritism. Let's get it. Tia. First of all, it is still going. I'm pretty sure we're just. I don't think we're ever gonna get back here. I think this is completely gone. However, last few times we charted this up, we did use some other things. I'm just gonna hide this. So when we look at the chart, we look at Tia's chart, and this is going to be the area where I'm looking to bid. Because I chart Tia very often, I already know what we're going to do. When we look at the Tia chart, we can see that we had a bullish Leo harmonic right over here at the 786. And then we had a bad right over here. I'll show the full chart in a bit, because I have a very elaborate chart on this, of course. However, for now, I'll just mark it out. So I'm taking that 786, and I am taking that 886 right over there. So this is essentially our range, because we had the X2D of two bullish harmonics right over here. That's what we ranged in between. Deviated once, apart from that, I deviated to the upside once as well. Apart from that, this is your range. Now, we never retested this. And I am not saying that we have to retest it, because we don't. There's also just a world where we just never go back there. Especially because we retested this wick already, which is also this wick. We retested this entire area. So there is a good chance that we never come back here. However, if we do get back here, to this blue line to 6.2, I think this is a really good place to bid. I think that is a very good area to get in. Apart from that, if we don't get it, we're going to look for something else. And that is this one. We have this bearish butterfly right over here. However, we are building above it, which is a really good sign. Because that means that we can look for longs once we flip it to support. So on a lower time frame, this is where I look. So essentially 8.7 is where I look for a reaction, and then you can maybe take scalp longs. If you zoom in a little, let me actually just. There's that no monthly opens all the way over there. We actually just retested this today. Okay, really good to know. Let's see. Okay, moving averages are catching up to it as well. So I think if you get a retest of this, and you need to get a confirmed retest, but if you do get a retest of it, I think this is a very easy one. I think you can get something like this in, and you just place your stops below. That's my tool. below this wick. Never place your stops over here for the reason that ICT does that, and you don't want to put in your stops with the rest of the market. So never place them on the candle close, place them a bit lower. So I just use the wick next to it. Now, this is a long you can only take on a good reaction, and the reason for that is because if we close below this level and we accept back below this D point, you're just back. This is a short. So if you do that, we short. Because this is a very important level on TIA. And breaking out here or going back in is essentially gonna tell us, is TIA gonna go to 6.2 or is it gonna go into the 10s? Can you explain the EMAs 10 and 200 when cross is bullish? Okay, I don't use that concept personally, but I will explain it. 1 second. Let's see, I should have one. I think it's this one. Okay, so let's make it. I'm gonna make the 200, gonna make that golden, and the white one is a 10 EMA. Now, okay, first of all, let's I'll screenshot this. TIA, and I'm just gonna give you all 3 screenshots. I'll give you a full screenshot later as well, because this is obviously just a chart I made real quick. Okay, first, the concept. The reason why people say that moving average crossovers are bullish or bearish is this. Let's take a look, and I recommend, by the way, the first part of what I'm going to tell is something you can use for literally everything. Everything in trading and in a lot of other concepts as well, like sports, whatever you want. Let's take a look at what these things mean. We want to use this concept, in this case, a moving average. So what does it mean? What does a moving average tell us? For example, quick little question. Does anyone actually know what a 200 stands for in 200 EMA or MA? Because MA is obviously a moving average. We know that. But what do numbers actually stand for? Number of candles, yeah, exactly. And number of bar closes, 200 bar close, yeah, exactly. So when we look at a 200 moving average, that tells us the average price over the past 200 candles. When we look at a 10 moving average, that tells us the average price over the past 10 candles. Very simple. Now, what does that mean? How can we use this? Well, we can say, okay, the average price of that is important. And that makes a lot of sense. If you're trading above the average price, that is clearly good. Because that means more people are buying than they have been in the past. If you are trading below it, you're bearish. It makes a lot of sense. Now, we have this thing this is across every data analysis region. The more data you have, the more representative it is. If you have a higher sample size, it is more accurate. So the 200 moving average matters more than the 10 moving average. Because the 10 moving average will react faster. So if we zoom in on something like this, if I look at this, well, hey, we cross over, that is good. But then we just cross back down and cross back over, cross back down, etc. This doesn't tell us a lot. Even here, we keep trading below it. Well, sure, but we just go back above it after that. So we can use that on a lower time frame. That's maybe usable, but on its own, it doesn't mean anything. Why? Because even, let's take this region as an example, even if we are above the 10 moving average, we are still below the 200 moving average. So even if the past 10 candles, we are more bullish than the past 10 candles, we are still more bearish than the past 200 candles, and that matters more to us. So for that reason, even though we are above one of the moving averages, we are below the other, so we are not actually bullish. You cannot be fully bullish if you are not trading above the higher time frame moving averages. So as long as you're not above this, as long as you're not above the 200 MA, even if you're above this one, it doesn't matter too much. That is why a crossover matters so much. Because the moment you cross over, you are now above both. And that matters a lot. That is a very good sign. So the moment this happens, you're essentially saying, okay, now we are actually in an uptrend. Like, we are above the average price of the past 200 candles and past 10 candles, so we can assume that we are uptrending. There is buying pressure. That's what we're telling. That's what this is telling you. So that's why it matters so much. Any questions about that? Yeah, I think that was good. I don't actually use moving averages at all. But that is not because I don't like them. It is mostly just because I have too many lines on my chart. So I don't want them on there at all times. So that's why I do sometimes use them in the form of this one, right? I use this ribbon because I both like it. I like how it looks, and I like having this kind of white area that will tell me, hey, if you have an harmonic that completes in this area and the moving average is there as well, that's a good place to look. I don't use them, but that's mostly just because of chart clutter, right? Yeah, sure. Glad it helped. You have any tips on how to add spot exposure? Yeah, sure. Okay. So you just trying not to FOMO. Okay. So something you might see is a chart like, well, let's actually just take this chart. Or actually, you suggested uni, right? Yeah, that was a uni suggestion. Okay, let's go to uni. Uni is a good example. Uni is not a good example. You cannot enter this. Let's see, what can I use as an example? Let's go to, well, this chart is chaotic. Do I care about this chart? No. Okay. Let's look at DYM. Let's say you are looking at DYM and you think, hey, I want to enter this because we have flipped market structure. You're saying, okay, this was a very important high, just like that. We are now above it. You want to enter this coin. However, where do you put your stop loss? You would place your stop loss on this chart, probably below this wick. You don't want that. I want to feel comfortable entering this, because that is a 30% stop loss, and that's too much. Now, this stop loss is so wide because we are not actually at support. We are in the middle of nowhere. And that happens a lot during the current market. A lot of the times you're not going to actually get the bid you want. You're not going to get on support, see it at support, and then buy. So what you can do is you buy small. You enter with, let's say, 20% allocation. This is about spot, by the way. You enter 20% allocation. And you have 2 bags. And for those that think, hey, that sounds very similar to what Weatherman always says, yeah, absolutely. I think that system is really good, so I use it as well now. So you want to enter this, but it is not an optimal place. So you enter very light. You enter with 20%. 20% at CMP. CMP stands for current market price. And you now have 80% left. What do we do with that? We divide it up into 2 places. We divide it up into 40% for lower and 40% for higher. What do I mean with that? Let's say we think this is a very important level as well, and this is only up 25%. That's a pretty good amount because it's a very volatile coin. But this is up 25%, and we want it to be way up here. So we wouldn't want it to be here. That's what we save 40% for. But most importantly, we save 40% for lower. So if we do get a wick down back below this area, and we get onto, let's say, this original support, right? The candle close over here. We just DCA there. Just syncing it with those candle closes. That's where we DCA. So if we do drop, we do get the purchase we want. We get the entry where we actually want it. So that's when you enter with 40%. And the other 40%, you don't use this at all. You don't touch this. The only reason, or the only scenario where you are allowed to touch it, is if you now go above your important level and you flip it into support. Then you add the rest. And the reason for that is so, one, you don't stress out because you always have 40% left. If after this DCA you just go back down and start closing below this level, well, first of all, your average is going to be not in the middle, but like at 2/3, so somewhere over here. This is now a 17% stop loss, down from 30%, right? Still a wide stop. This example I'm using is very wide. But you minimize your stop loss, and you're only in it for 60%. So even with a very wide stop loss, 70% is a lot. Your actual stop loss is only going to be about, what is it, like 9%. 9% is fine. That is completely fine. You will only be fully allocated once you add back up here, and in that case, you are already in profit. So you could even just move your stop loss to entry. That's completely fine. If we flip higher level to support before lower level, we allocate 80% at the higher level. No, in that case, I would allocate it differently. That's a good question, actually. In that case, I would just do it, let's say 40% CMP and then 60% up, or I would do it 50-50. I would change the numbers if I don't have a DCA. But move your average higher. Yeah, it does. This strategy gives you a slightly higher average if this does end up happening. Slightly higher. However, if you entered over here, you would have TP'd over here anyway. If you TP over here, you now have less size over here on your next TP. So by averaging up over here, you are slightly increasing your average, but you are actually increasing your profit because you are in it with more size than you would if you TP'd over here. I think a good example of this is EFI, because we did this on EFI and it worked out really well. EFI, as you can see, we had our first entry in this area. These are this was a spot play, this is a soft stop. And I said, okay, this might be resistance, but even if we tap that, I don't actually want to TP there, because look at the chart. This is not a place where I want to take profit. This is where I still want to buy. So we entered lower size. And when we did that, I said, this is where we enter partially. And then when we flip this to support, we add up. Now, that makes our average slightly higher. However, we had a lot more security because this coin showed a lot of strength. We have now fully broken market structure. We have flipped an important level. This coin is very likely to go up. And we have higher size than we would have if we TP'd this level instead. Now, you could argue, I want to TP this level, and then if we flip, that's when I add. Completely fine. 100% fine. You can absolutely do that. However, by doing it this way, by leaving room to add, you are, one, minimizing your losses, because if you do lose out on a trade, you're only losing with 60% of your allocation. And two, more importantly, you're making it easier for yourself, because it is, I mean, you probably saw it if you're new to trading. You saw during the dump literally yesterday. If you were fully allocated yesterday, you would have been stressing out. If you were stressing out probably because you just saw the market nuke and you were fully allocated. It gives you a lot of like kind of mental support or mental ease. Like, it is easier on your mind to have room left to add. So by not fully allocating, you're also just making trading easier and less stressful for yourself. Can you use such a technique for Lev? Yeah, you can. You can swing trade it that way, but that is way more complicated. So that is an entirely different topic. If you want to know how to do that, I honestly recommend go to Weatherman's stream. He's probably streaming this Tuesday. He usually streams on Tuesday, and ask him. He's really good at it. If you want to know how to do this on leverage, you should go to Weatherman. But yeah, in the end, this moved our average slightly higher because let's take it from the TP, right? It was 40% to the TP from my average, while it was 65% from the first entry. However, we we entered with way more size, and we had absolutely zero stress. I couldn't care less for this position when it happened because we were in it for half size. We had very good risk management. We were in for 60%, right? And our stop loss was 13%. 13% could be 30% if you fully allocated. We were in for 60%, so that means we were in for like a 7% stop, something like that. 8%, something like that. That's way easier. Because you can always, if you manage your risk properly, an 8% stop on spot is nothing. As like when you think about that, is 0.8% of your spot portfolio. Because I use units 10% size, right? I use 10% of my spot board more or less. 0.8% of my spot portfolio, I can risk that easily. So that is what I recommend for spot. Just start a position, start light, and then DCA down. And DCA up as well. If you show strength, DCA up. Now, we didn't actually get this ad right. But if you do drop back down now, and we start flipping this area to support, I will add back. And my average is going to be somewhere over here. But we will have more size in it. So it doesn't even matter, because even though the number on our P&L cards, like the percentage number that I'm going to share, right? Because I'm going to share this one from over here instead. It's going to be lower. But we added back in. So the number of profit we're making is higher. And in the end, I don't care about win rate. I care about making profit. What's your confirmation? Yeah, I read your question. Don't worry. I always take questions one by one. Because I want to take the time to answer them properly so people learn from it. So I will get to that. Okay, so the definition of flipping something to sport. Let's take a look at, we can actually use this. I'm going to use, let's empty this chart up. Let's take a look at this, because this is where we added. What we look at for flipping something to sport is this. You want, first of all, multiple closes above. I use 3 closes minimum above a certain level. So close number 1, close number 2, close number 3. And then a retest candle. It doesn't have to be the 4th candle, right? This candle could have done it as well. I want a retest candle. I want this candle to go within my area and then close above. Now for this one, I shared this, I think, on a 6 hour or 4 hour. This is where we entered, because this candle wicked it, closed above. This candle didn't. This candle closed within and then closed outside again. This is a very nice example of what you should look for in a retest, because this is something you don't take. This is not a successful retest. This is a successful retest. So our actual entry was right over here. It was not actually on this line, right? It was right over here. Does the time interval matter? Yeah, the time frame should be synced with the time frame you're looking at. Now, there is not an exact rule for it, but I will give you this like rule of thumb. It has to be at least 30 bars. So there's 100 bars, right? We're looking essentially, I'm looking at this harmonic, for example, saying from over here to over here, it's about 100 bars. That's good. At least 30 bars. Apart from that, it is subjective. The time frame you're trading on and the time frame you're using for confirmation is a bit hard to judge. Yeah, everyone does have different rules for it. Yeah, I will say though. What do you mean for the bars? A candle, essentially. Just that this tool calls it bars. Yeah, so what I will say though, everyone does have different rules. You should not enter on the first candle. If one candle closes above, don't enter on that. Because that is not confirmation at all, that is one candle close. That's how you get caught in deviations. BTC is a very good example of this, I'll show you. You cannot do it on the first candle for this reason. Let's say you did it over here. Very recent example as well. And that is the entire reason why I like the 1272 so much, because it traps people that do that. Don't enter on the first candle that breaks out. And the reason for that is this. This is an extreme example, right? You don't want to enter in the middle of this. You want to enter on a successful retest. So this is not a successful retest either. You need candle closes above. You need a test that closes above. How many candles you take, that is subjective. More than one. Don't do it on the first one. I always use 3. There are some people who use 2 who have success with that. In my experience, 3 is more reliable. Yeah, and obviously you won't always get a retest. Sometimes you miss a trade because of that, but it happens. Like you didn't get this this retest. This obviously you wouldn't have had this level, right? But you didn't get this retest if you had it. But it doesn't matter because there's always a next trade. There's always a next trade, like literally always. So even if you don't get this one, well, we'll get the next one. Doesn't matter. That is also why I recommend just enter light if you want to enter a trade. If you want to enter a spot position around the level you're eyeing, just enter with like 20% in case you don't get that retest. So that way you're at least in it and you can just average up. Or the SOL all-time high example you used earlier too when talking about EVs currently. That was SOL only closing one time above. No, SOL didn't close above at all. SOL closed below it. Yeah, I'll show you. On a 4-hour it was, but you shouldn't be looking at a 4-hour on macro, right? I can't even go there. Look at that. It's actually 2 years. We're not looking at a 4-hour. But you can, yeah, I mean, sure, this is a good example. We broke out of the level, closed one candle above, and the next one already closed below. And not only that, but the one after that closed as a bearish retest. Don't do it on the first candle. Because that is very easy stop loss. Yeah, it's a good example. This is why. It can be subjective. You can choose the amount of candles you want. Don't do it on the first one. That's very bad. Retest means it comes back to a support level, right? Yeah, let's look at it like this. Retest means, hey, we broke out of this little blue line over here. Blue line is important. We broke out of it right over here, close above. That's a breakout. Then 1 close, 2 close, 3rd close, and the 3rd close also retested the blue line. So, wait, who was it? What was the question? Yeah, retest means it comes back to the support level, right? Yeah. So, opponent level, breakout, and then we come back to the level. We close the candle above, so that's when you can take a trade. If you're looking for a trade on SOL, this is your entry candle. You look at this candle and you're saying, hey, now we are accepting above this level, and then you can enter. So let's say you want to put it in the middle of this box, just do it like that, and you long it to the next level. Yeah, the time frame depends on the time frame you're trading on. That's personal preference for the most part. However, important to note, the higher the time frame, the more reliable it is. So if the daily closes below, but your 4-hour candle gave you an entry, you don't enter because the daily closed below, and the daily is more important. I'm always confused with the flip, so I have to wait and take it on a higher price. Yeah, you get a slightly worse entry. So by doing this, as you can see, you enter over here instead of over here. That's slightly worse, right? Slightly higher entry, but a lot more confirmation. So even though your entry is slightly higher, your trade is very, very likely to work out. Well, if you just enter over here, you might just get stopped out instantly. Because in the end, who cares about your actual entry? You just care about that it goes up after you enter. You care about profit, not actual win rate. Or not actual, like, the numbers. Like, the P&L card with the really high numbers is, like, it looks good. But do you really care about that in the end? Because I would rather enter here than enter here. Because it's just way more confirmation, even though it's slightly higher. So if I do this, I know that the trade is very likely to work out. Well, if I enter over here, I'm going to be stressing out until that candle closes. And there's a good chance it closes below, and then, well, now what am I going to do? Now I'm just sitting in red for no reason. Just took a bad trade. So in the fourth, we take a trade. No, on this candle close, right over here. One candle close, two candle close, and then the third over here, and the third also retested. You could have also said, hey, this fourth one retested, I'll wait for one more candle. Fourth one did as well. Both of these would be valid retest candles. Yeah, let's trade with higher consistency. Sometimes you will miss it. You will miss a trade like this. But the amount of extra confidence, win rate, etc. you make by doing this is way more worth it. Because you're increasing your win rate by so much by doing this, that first of all, you can play higher sides with that. Because you are simply winning a lot more. So in reality, you're making more off of less trades. So it compensates out. You're losing less as well. You're tanking less stop losses. So by doing this, you make more profit. And I don't care if I have 10 longs open and have 5 of them stop loss. Well, that's just sad, isn't it? But by doing something like this, you can easily get to a way higher win rate. And not necessarily win rate, you're making more profit as well because you're more confident in the trade, so you can play with decent size. Because if you're just going to limit all of these levels or just enter on every candle, well, you're going to have to risk like 1% or something. Because there's a good chance you just get stopped out every time. Well, if you do it properly like this, you can say, okay, I want to use like 3% of my portfolio, something like that. It's like me before Unity. Yeah, you just see a candle going through a level like this and you're like, well, we're breaking all-time high, and just enter. It's a very natural thing to do. A lot of people do that, but this is very bad. Okay, let's see. I had a bunch of coin requests, so let's look at those. There's Rowan's winner. No, okay. Suggested Uni, but I can't even chart Uni anymore. Uni is gone. So you see a chart like this. This chart is gone. Like completely gone. Uni is gonna go way higher. Because at this point, we have like broken this B point, right? That's exactly what Ave did. So now we're just going to go to the next target. And the next target for Uni is going to be this one, 25. So the only trade to be had is if we go back and we flip this to support. That's when we can start looking for trades up until this level. I actually fully charted out for him. 1 second. And just like that, we have our Leo. And a bat right over there. So the only trade to be had on Uni is if we now start flipping this level to sport. Like if we get back on this on like a daily, for example. We go back to this, flip to sport, and then we can scalp long into the highs. Scalp long into 25. Let's tag him. Oh, you guys type a lot, okay. CFX. CFX is a good suggestion, actually. But I get injective Rose, they are there right now. Yeah, Rose, I am really sad about Rose. It's not this one. Because I never added up. I entered over here on the chart, but I never added up. Even though we had a really good shot at it. It's my Rose chart. It's this one. I wanted to give this signal, but I was busy. And then when I came back, I forgot. So, yeah. That sucks. And injective as well, yeah. Injective is still good, though. Because on injective, you can still kind of manage your risk, because I think we're going to get a retest of this. AR, weave, and order. That's a lot of tickers. See, I'm going to go top to bottom, and we'll just see where we end up. See, red Union Tia. Hype, prime, big time. I'm going to skip prime, but I'll do a hype and big time. Because I think you guys have a prime call already. Wait, let me take a look actually. Wait, no, there's a... never mind. It's a really fast chart actually. I would be careful at the moment if you are in a position. If you are not in a position, then I have good news, because you might get another shot. Okay, let's see. This is resistance area number 1. And this is second resistance. Do you like how I said I'm going to skip prime and then just did it first? So for prime, I think this is going lower after touching one of these boxes. So if you're already in a position, I'd recommend taking profit somewhere over here or somewhere over here. Or both, because these are both very high time frame resistance levels. So I think either this is going to reject or this is going to reject. And then we either bounce back from this or we actually go above it, flip to support, and then you can go high. So you wouldn't recommend... No, don't get in now. This is not an area where you get in. Because your last low, so your actual invalidation, right, is right over here. Where your TP1 is over here. That's a 0.3 R. So I will not enter. I wouldn't do that, no. I would, however, enter if you flip this level to support. You have very easy invalidation. Right below that Leo. And you also have a very easy TP. Right over there. That is your target if you get there. This is a way better play in my opinion. So if we somehow flip 19 to support, that is a good place to enter. Entering here is very risky. You can decide to short this, but it is a bit risky considering how strong this coin is. So I'm not sure if I would do this, but if you see a good reaction, you can. Old Dino coin would not have waited for the retest of injective. Yeah, that's also the thing. This price action for traders isn't good at all. Let's take a look at CRV, right? Let's say you are someone who only trades, who doesn't have spot, which I don't recommend, by the way. I highly recommend to have spot, have exposure. Let's say you are only you trading. How do you enter this? Like ever? You can't. There's no place to enter. So price action wise, this is garbage. You can't actually enter this. You have to go into a very low time frame and start like actually trading patterns with like 52% win rate. Because this symmetrical pattern, this doesn't mean anything. So patterns like these are very unreliable. So you're gonna have to start doing that and kind of just gamble, because when you start getting to symmetrical patterns that have a very, very low win rate, it's not worth trading. So price action like this, it might not give you the retest, but it is what it is. There's always more. You have some chances, right? You have this retest, for example, of an important level over here, and you just came back down for a retest and then go high. But on a higher time frame, there's no place to enter. Kind of sucks. Okay, let's see. Big time. We are in a big time position. And I'm hoping our DCA hit during the dump today. It didn't. That's sad. So here's another example. I really wanted to enter this token during that dump. But it was at resistance, right? So what we did is we entered really light. We entered with 20%. And then the entry, like the actual greedy entry, is now our DCA. Because in a bull market where everything is just going up the entire time, you don't always get that perfect retest, right? You don't always get that. So you just enter light in case you do go up, and then you DCA on the actual entry. So that's the plan for big time. We charted big time, like I think it was 2 days ago in stream. We just sat in voice and charted a bunch of things. I think it looks really good. It's big time in general. I think this looks really, really good. Our first TP for the spot position is over here. That's the first TP. And I might move it down a little to this wick over here, or maybe form something new right on the way there, because it's still a long ways off. But that's the first TP, first main TP. That's also why I'm entering light, right? I'm planning to hold this position for a while. So I just kind of want confirmation, because the moment we flip this level, in my opinion, we're just gonna slowly go up and hit this level. But over here, I can't say that for sure yet. So that's it for big time. A bit of a boring one because we already have it charted. But at least we know it for sure. CRO. Oh, we're looking at CRO. Oh, that's why. There's no entry to be out on this. You can maybe go into a really low time frame and scalp it. However, when we look at the candles, these candles have some nasty wicks, and you can see on these closes, because they close outside of each other, liquidity is pretty bad. So this coin is not getting traded a lot. So on a high time frame, I would say you cannot enter this, because look at what it's doing. You cannot properly manage risk. So I would say go onto a lower time frame and trade it. However, you can't trade this. No one is trading it, so this is very risky to trade. So I want to look at this, as it didn't seem to run yet properly. CRO since November is up 200%. I would say that this has already ran, because this is what's it called? These candles. That is a 200% pump in a week. This coin is already ran. I would say this is a pretty significant move. So this is not a place where I would enter. This is like where I would take my first profits. If I entered over here, this is where I would have started TP. That's like my TP1. Now, if you do somehow get back again, and you get a retest of, say, what's an opponent level? This coin's price action is really weird, actually. If you do get a retest, for example, just pull a fib like this, and you get a retest, like starting from the 618, for example, over in this area, you can bid over in these levels. That's why I would start bidding, but I don't think we get this either. But that's the thing, because the moment we lose these levels, we're just gonna go down really fast. Because keep in mind, even if your invalidation is a daily close below this, which would in theory break market structure, as a 30% stop loss. I would not want to tank a 30% stop loss. So this is not a place where you can enter. The only entry you can actually get on this is if you flip this to support. You go above, you enter on that. That's where I would enter. If you start doing that, that's where you could take an entry. Hey, what's up, E? Yeah, E's gotta be very happy. Did you look at Uni yet? Or do you not trade that coin anymore? Yeah. Uni is gonna go a lot higher. We just charted it. These are the first targets I have for Uni, but I think it goes a lot higher. Can I after BTC stops rally and also run again? These coins will not run again. I think they will. Because don't get me wrong, when I look at CRO, because that was a suggestion, right? I think this runs. I think this goes higher. For sure. I think let's actually draw a target to make a point. I think this coin can get to this point. See, that is not valid. Let me answer the not valid either. This coin sucks. I think we will get at least this. I think we at least get to this way. However, in my eyes, the market is not actually about the profit you make. It is about what you potentially lose. Because in the end, you care about your number going up. And losses matter more than wins for that. The easiest way I can explain this is this. Let's say you have $100. And you lose 50%. So you lose 50%. You are now sitting at $50. Very simple. To make this back, to go back to 100, you now need 100% win. Because you need to go from 50 to 100. That's a 2x. You see this difference? This is the easiest way why I can explain why I look at my stop losses instead of my targets. It's very simple, right? You have it, but then you have to double it. And doubling something is harder. You need a bigger number to go back to where you were. It's a very simple example. There are obviously mistakes in this example. This concept applies to portfolios. So when I look at something like this, and when your validation is a minus 30%, my tool. I swapped my toolbar, so I'm completely confused. Minus 30%. Let's do that again. We go from 100. We go to 70. Now, to go from 70 to 100, this obviously minus 30%. Now to go from 70 to 100, we need about, what is it, like 40%? I think it's like 40. 42. I don't know. I'm not going to do that out of my head. It's like 40-ish. 40-ish. I don't know. Long story short, this is not 30%. So very simply said, losses matter more than wins. So this minus 31% matters a lot. So I look more at where I can manage my risk than my potential targets. That is also why, remember sand? That's why I wanted to look at sand in the first place, because we had, and I'm fully well aware that we cancelled this. Not too happy with it. But remember sand? We had really easy invalidation. The moment we get a bearish retest of this, like a proper bearish retest, right? So 1 candle, 2 candle, third candle closed within. The moment we get a proper bearish retest of this, we get out. So our play was something like this, with a soft stop, right? This was a spot position. So not a hard stop loss. What's our invalidation? Our invalidation was minus 4%. That's what I was looking at. Now why we cancelled that, that was entirely related to BTC and to BTC dominance, because I didn't think alts were going to run. But that was also the moment when it broke structure, right? So that's the moment when we knew, okay, now alts are really going to run. Which is sad, but it is what it is. This is what I was looking at on sand. That's why I really liked sand initially. Because you're risking 4%. That is really good. On a coin that looks really good, you're risking 4%. That's amazing. Because your first P was over 8. Like, your risk to reward was immense. But that's what I look at mostly. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I put in chat. The question is essentially, did CRO flip this level? It's a question. So I'll ask it back. I'll ask it to the people in chat. When we look at this candle or this chart, did we flip this level? So when we go back to what we said earlier in the stream, when we look at what does it take to flip a level, we said we need 3 closes above and then 1 candle that retests and also closes above. Did we do that? Yeah, that's it. So I would not have taken this entry for that reason. It does look good. It does look like it's gonna go up. But this level, we flipped it, but this is not an entry level. If we now go back down and then we top it again, that's where you get your entry. Because when we look at this candle alone, this candle shows a massive rejection. This candle is actually showing us, hey, we don't belong here yet. So you have no full confirmation that you're going to go above this level. You don't know that yet. And that's mostly because of this. Because it's also just probably an SFP. This candle looks really bad in general. Is there a document with important candles? Yes, there is. What's it called? I'll send it after the stream because wait, am I actually showing? No, am I showing anything on the recording? No. Okay, I can open it. Oh, I already have it open. Okay. I have a book for you. There it is. Steve Nyson's Japanese Candlesticks Charting Techniques. It's an entire book, literally just about candlesticks. It's incredible. You can learn what's it called. You can trade almost on candlesticks alone if you want to. I don't see why you would want to do that, but you can. Yeah, candles tell you a lot. Like, they really tell you a lot. CFX. Yeah, I'll go with CFX for sure. I probably missed some suggestions as well. It is what it is. CFX. This is my CFX chart. I got what's it called? There was this one guy. No, he's on the stream. Okay, that's sad. There was this one guy who kept asking me for CFX, so I just drew this up for him. Didn't take it. It is what it is. But in general, this is my important level on CFX. If I look at this Gardly, you might have seen me draw my harmonics out manually. You see, a lot of fibs are in this spot. This is my important level at the moment. And we are flipping this level. So essentially, what you can see here is a reason for me to enter light. And then, hey, you might ask, hey, why didn't you enter light? I did. I'm planning to give it to my students. But in general, I might give this as a spot signal as well. I'm already kind of exposed to it through hook. Same narrative. Now, if you want to get into CFX, entering light makes sense here. This is what my play would look like. I would enter 20% here. 20% CMP. I would enter 40% in this region. And I would cut, and this is a bit of a wider stop loss, right? Well, it's not that bad. It's like 11%. I would cut if we lose this level. It's that simple. This is what my play would look like. Or maybe I would do this 30-70, because this coin is obviously already uptrending. So 30-70 would make a lot of sense as well. But in general, this is what I would do. And your TPs are really high, right? Because the first structure you have is over here. So this is your TP1. Then your TP2 is likely just going to be this way. And after that, you kind of just aim for this. So I think CFX looks really good. That's already 28%, but your main target, the main target we're aiming for is up here. I think this looks really good. CFX looks ready. If you looked at Myro, I bought a bit of Myro at the bottom because I didn't want to trade it, so I just bought it and I locked it up somewhere, and now I never look at it again. And then at some point near the end of the cycle, I will unlock it and sell it. I'll take a look at Myro. I like Myro. Actually, a good suggestion. Yeah, Myro looks good here. ENA looks similar to Eve to me. That's coming into it. Yeah, okay. I'll do Myro and then I'll look at ENA because we're already in ENA. Sorry, ENA, and we are at macro resistance. And good spot actually. It does look similar. If we wick this and close below, it looks really bad. Also look at Jasmine. Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna do Myro now, then yeah, I'm gonna do Myro, then ENA, then Jasmine. And then maybe one more if you have a really good suggestion. Let's do these first. So for Myro, there is a Gardly over here. This is the reason why I kind of just bought and then never looked back. And that is this Gardly. Because this Gardly looks really good. It is actually the macro Gardly. For the record, you can look back on this on my Twitter as well. This exact setup is what makes every meme coin fly. It is a Gardly that ends on a trend line. It is actually that simple. What I draw? I drew two of them. I'll show you after. Whiff did this. Popcat did this. Mumu did it. Like the meme coins that fly do it off of Gardlies that end on a trend line. It is that simple. It's like, it's incredible. So this is a Gardly and this is a Max Gardly right over here. So you are actually at an area where you can properly manage risk. which is really rare for coins like right now. Coins that actually have that at the moment. So I would say if you, because this is what I'm looking at, right? This is what I'm looking at on my row. And then if I just take the fibs over here, take my TPs, essentially we don't do this one and we don't do this one. And then I would take an 886. What's the 886 over there? These are my TPs essentially. This is what I'm looking at. But more importantly, I'm not gonna sell everything on these. Or I wouldn't if it wasn't a trade. I'm in a long-term position, right? But if it wasn't a trade, I wouldn't sell everything. Because there's a good chance, if this gets back here, that you actually start selling. They get like this proper meme coin send up. So I would say this is what the high time frame chart looks like. Propose this. If you want to get in on this, you have an entry. It is almost itchy just now. We're not properly flipping this to support yet, right? If I enable this. Yeah, we haven't properly flipped this to support yet. Because we keep closing within it. If you do actually start, if you do get a proper flip candle, right? If you get a proper candle now that goes within and closes above, you can actually take a position like this. But you need that confirmation. And you're going to take your main TPs over at the high time frame TPs. But this is going to be your TP1 most likely. I'm going to put this on my list because I like this. So if you flip this, that's where you can enter, and then this is going to be your TP1. Let me hide this for the screenshot. Just like that. This coin actually looks good. I'm gonna pay attention to this and maybe call along later if we get that retest. Okay, let's see. Where is ENA? Are we actually getting a good, like, an example? Wait. By the way, for this, for the SFPs, you want to take a look at the perpetual charts and not index charts or spot charts. So we're going to go to ENA USDT.p. I like Bybit. So I'm going to do it up here. So if this candle closes below, let's take it on a 4 hour. Already did. This doesn't look good at all. RSI is curving down. And we tap this level and close below. Let me check if Binance is the same thing. Binance didn't. This is important to test because the liquidity is still there on Binance. So if you're going to actually enter the SFP trade on Bybit based on, hey, we wicked it, so I'm going to put my stops above the wick, there's a good chance you get stopped out. The most important exchanges for this are Bybit and Binance because they have the most liquidity. They are the most important. With Binance being number one. So we look for Binance, and if on the perpetual chart on Binance, this actually like wicks above, then closes below, that's when we can short. Simply an SFP trade. But we don't have that yet. So we can't enter yet, but it does look really similar. You're right about that. Re-enter? What do you mean by that? For long. I mean, if we flip this to support, I'm gonna add. Well, more importantly, if we flip this to support, I'm gonna add this blue box. Otherwise, I'm gonna add when we do this. Have this quick area, right? This is what I think is gonna happen. Because I think ENA is gonna get a pullback. Too many people are talking about it. And we are hitting opponent levels. So I think this is gonna flush down and then we can get another entry. Because we hit the TPs already, right? So we're just waiting for ads. Because I do think ENA is gonna go a lot higher. Where's my final target? There's nothing there. Yeah, so the shark over here is my first final target. Also close to the EMA. We had one over here, right? 4 hour 200. Yeah, it's close to that. It's a good confluence. Yeah, so ENA does look really similar to Eve. Because ENA is pulling back, is Eve doing the same? No. Eve hasn't tapped it yet. At least not on this chart. Not yet. Still waiting. Yeah, by that time it will be a bit closer. Okay, let's do one more coin suggestion, and then I'm gonna call the stream. Saga, that was fast. Ooh, Ordi, you suggested that earlier. Okay, I'll do Saga and Ordi. It's gonna do Jasmine as well. Okay, that's fine. Those three are the last ones. Saga, Ordi, and Jasmine. And the reason why I can do 3 is because I have Ordi and Jasmine charted already. So cheating. Hey, nice. Good long. AR used the T is ready. That's also true. AR tapped the Gordy. I didn't see it when it did. AR does look ready, but we are... Yeah, we have to get through this first. You have to start closing above this level first. Like, properly get above it and close above. Because right now, this doesn't look good. You can also... This is also a good example, right? This would have been your short on an SFP. This is exactly what we showed on ENA and Eve. This would have been your short, right? So that would have been your entry. I think that is, yeah, that's this close right here. This kind of close would have been your entry. Stop loss above the wick. I always take my TP1 at like about 1R. So there's your TP1. Very easy trade. And then you could have taken TP2 wherever you want to. It's a very easy trade, SFPs. Your wick on opponent level, close below. Entry on the candle close, stops above the wick. When you say candles, you need to start closing above levels. On what time frame do you need to close above the level? Depends on what time frame you're looking at. In this case, I would say the daily, because this is a daily chart, essentially. You can also make an argument for the weekly, but I need a minimum of 30 bars. And this is 15 bars. So it is below the weekly, above the daily. So I'm just going to use the daily. 30 bars minimum. That's the rule. And then the higher of a time frame you go on, the more reliable it is. But I do think this is ready. I think AR looks good, but you need to get above this. If it doesn't, and I'm going to give you a technical target, so don't be scared, because there's no, like, it doesn't have to happen. But if it doesn't get above this, if it doesn't start building above this, the technical target is this low again. That is actually just a technical target. It doesn't have to happen. I don't think that happens, but that is a technical target. Rejection here in harmonic trading means this. And to give that a little bit of like credibility, I will show you the exact same thing on AVAX. I cannot do it on this chart. Yeah, what was this one? Jesus Christ, this is chaotic. It is exactly this. So when I say technical target, it doesn't have to happen, but it is possible. Hey, thanks for coming as well. Good having you. This is your harmonic, this is your D point. This is your TP1, the 3A2. And if you reject it, the D point is a technical target for the way down. Doesn't have to happen. It absolutely doesn't always happen, but it can. If you reject there, this is the level I'm going to be looking for on AR. If we reject this is what I'm looking for. We're so calming, it's like charting at ASMR. I'm going to become an ASMR streamer soon. I'm going to quit trading in general, I'm just going to do ASMR. Okay, check the EMAs, sure. 280 EMA. Yeah, so crossover. So this does look good. But I'll show you the same thing for ABAX, right? ABAX crossover all the way over here. And then I think the weekly crossover there as well. No, the weekly just spawned over there. 3-day. 3-day crossover there as well. So, yeah, the signs point up, but if you reject, I will assume lower. Even if it seems unlikely now, it might not be so in the future. Okay, let's take a look at Saga. Yeah, for sure. And if you start building above that wick, I think we go higher as well. It is actually just if you reject it. Okay, so for Saga, we finally formed the proper B point over here, which is really nice because now I can draw targets. Couldn't really do that before. So target 1 for this is going to be this Godly between the 786 and a 1272. We're near the end of the stream, so I'm not going to draw that out manually. I'm just going to make a little box. 272 is over there. Somewhere along these lines. That's your target, essentially. Now, this is not an area where you can enter, because you don't have a place to manage risk. However, if we zoom in a little, and we look at the range like this, we can see, hey, maybe we have something over here. Uh, 786 over here, this is going to be resistance, and then this one. So I wouldn't enter here because we are very close to the resistance essentially. But the B point of a bet is very important because it signals the halfway point of a price leg. It's at the 0.5 pip. Yeah, enter on the retest of B point, exactly. So that's what I would do. If we do go back lower and we retest this B point, that's when I would enter. That's where you can manage risk. Because then you can just say, hey, I'm going to enter on a candle close and I'm going to put my stop loss somewhere over there. Now, where you put that stop, we don't know yet because it's going to be in some structure you built over here. But that's what the play is going to look like. And then this is where you're going to be TPing. So we don't know this stop yet. This is where you're going to put the stop loss. And this is going to be your main TP1, this is going to be your main TP2. So I would essentially actually draw it like this. Something along these lines. If we ever, by the way, because we haven't had a real altcoin flush in a while, right? I will say it in advance. If we ever get a retest of this level right here, this is a level to bid. I don't think this is likely at all. I don't think this is going to happen. If we get a flush, this is an area to bid. If you want to put stink bits on Saga, for example, just put them in. Maybe they never hit. They probably never hit. But if they do, you're going to be very happy with this. Thanks to the streaming pages. Yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks for asking so many questions as well. It was fun. So yeah, that's what I look for in Saga. This is a heavy bid area if you ever get back to that guardian. Okay. Now we had Ordi and we had Jasmine. Already have Ordi charted. Kinda. So this is what my Ordi chart looks like. I think Ordi is good for higher, but we missed the entry on this. This would have been the entry, and there was a guard here that got front ran. Very sad about that. I wanted to enter here, but we never got there. So in general, I'm waiting for levels to get flipped. So if I draw this, it's almost the same thing as Saga. Because we once again just have a B point over here. I can enter on this, but I don't think we get this. Ordi is really hard to chart at the moment, because I think this chart looks really good. I think Ordi is going to go a lot higher, but I can't get an entry on this. So if we ever get like some kind of drop, I think this is the level to bid. I will over the weekend I'm gonna chart Ordi anyway, because as you can see it's literally on top of my to-do list, right? I'm gonna make a proper chart for this and share it as well. As for Ordi, I think it goes higher, but this is not an area where we can enter. I'm gonna either wait for shorts over here, or most importantly, I'm gonna look for longs over here. I think Ordi looks really good though. Like really good. This is a macro plan. I think this can easily run to new highs. Yeah, not really in a position to trade. That's why I recommend it as well. If you really want to get into new spot positions, you can enter very light, but just be prepared that it is absolutely possible to tank a drop. So it is for spot only, essentially. Because the DCA would be 11% down. Which if you manage risk properly and you are prepared for it, is very possible. But it is something you have to be okay with. You can enter very light here and DCA heavy on this line over here. That's fine. Because I think Ordi's going to go a lot higher, but that's hard. So it's possible, but I don't know if you want it. Yeah, thank you for coming as well. I'm going to wrap the stream up as well after this. We're going to go do Jasmine and call it a day. Can you share the ENA chart? Sure. Where's the ENA? Disadvantage of making new lists. Where's my stop loss over there? Our stop was losing this level. Oh yeah, you suggested STX. Sure. Not gonna do it for too long though, because we've been streaming for quite some time. Here's the ENA. Our next TP for spot, by the way, I haven't shared this yet. But the next TP is gonna be over here, and the TP after that is gonna be over here. Okay, I've already done Jasmine. Christ, one of my students literally just only trades Jasmine at the moment, and he's making so much profit by doing this. It's incredible. He's literally only trading this coin because he said somewhere in this region, "Hey, this coin looks ready." He just started trading it the entire time. It's really good, actually. Yeah, this is what I look for. Just look for a retest of this. It's a very simple chart. I actually think I have Jasmine somewhere over here. I don't. Jasmine USD. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we got the third retest already. We're currently retesting it actually. It doesn't look too bad. I think we're forming a little range here. If you like scalps, we missed the initial entry, but we are currently retesting this area, right? This is the main TP for it. If you like the scalp trade, I think this is a region where you can. This would have been my trade on a perp chart, something like this. That is not something I can share live, right? Because this is something you get a very small window for. However, if you are someone who likes to scalp trade, this is a good area to do so. This is essentially the idea behind the trade. You retest this, you TP that. It's a range in the making. This is likely going to form a range. This is hard to see at the moment with regular TA, right? Because you're not sure yet if this is going to be an SR level, or if this is going to be one, or this. In Harmonics, this is very obviously going to be a range. We're either going to range over here, or over here. So this, I think that's a good trade. The idea, I would only scalp this. This is going to be your main TP, and maybe this one is a TP too, but this likely your range, so this is your heaviest TP. Let's see, Jasmine. Yeah, it's up there. And then on a higher time frame, this is what you're actually looking at. This is our target for Jasmine. And the chart looks weird, to say the least, but this is our target. It's stream with a clear mind, amazing. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. Should take a look at Boom. Do we have to? I was about to forget SCX again. SCX is at an area where you should be taking profits. This is not an area to enter. Because we are sitting at the 0.618 at the moment. So you can see it over here, that is the TP2 of this harmonic. The only technical target left is, let me change this one. The only technical target left is the 1272. So this is definitely an area to take profit if you're not already in it, or if you are in a position. If you are not in a position yet, I would say we likely get an area, get a retest of this. This will be a nice area to get in. Because this, in the past, has been an important level. So when we get to that level again, that's where we try to enter. So let's go on to a lower time frame and try and get you that entry. Yeah, we're making one right now. That's nice. It's good timing. I cannot say for sure where the C point's going to be, because it can be over here. It can also be over here. It's very likely over here, actually. But I can tell you, it is either going to be an 886 of this. So somewhere over here. Or on the 786. Somewhere over here. If you want to get into SCX, and I also want to get into SCX, this is the region to do so. Now, the moment we break this point, this trade will become invalidated. So we cannot go above this. If you are planning to like screenshot this, the moment we break this, the trade is gone. If we break that, the harmonic is invalid. If we don't, this is our area to get in. So there it is, SCX. Okay, boom, last one. I keep saying last one and then we do more. Yeah. Hurts to see, doesn't it? Okay, let's see. How to celebrate Friday evening. Yeah, the people outside were doing that as well. Hij gaat bitterbal eten, dat is goed. Dan is het oké. We're not letting you go for drinks. No, it's okay. This is actually the last one. That is a really good level, actually. We have a guardy forming right on top of that bat, right over there. So that is a very good level. Very easy level as well. If we ever get this, It's a really good bid. Now, something you might have noticed during the stream is that a lot of charts have harmonics lower. If you wondered why I was looking for shorts today, even though the trend is clearly up, this is the reason why. Very often, when we see something like this, where every single chart has harmonics at lower levels, that are also just very important levels, good chance we actually get it. Good chance we start downtrending. Now, there's no reason why it has to do that, but I do think it will. So for Bohm, I would bid this level for sure. With the 0.7 area, essentially just this cluster, very close to it. That's why I can bid. A you cut, this is a soft stop. You cut if you lose this. Yeah, for BTC dominance, this is actually the simplest chart ever. This is my outlook on BTC dominance. This is a lower time frame trend shift. BTC dominance is now uptrending on the 1 hour. So I think BTC dominance is going to go up until we break this low. If we close below this, we're downtrending again. But this is like a very, very textbook structure shift. Okay, that's gonna be it for me today because we have been streaming for quite some time. I'm gonna upload the recording to the stream right after I go off, and what's called? Yeah, I'll try to upload it instantly, and I will see. Many thanks, man. This was mentorship. Can you imagine my actual mentorship? No, I'm not going to show it anymore. The class have already started, so I have no obligation to show it anymore. No, I really glad you enjoyed it. Okay, if you guys have any questions after this, or if you rewatch the recording or whatever, you can always just tag me in chat. If you tag me in chat, I will always respond once I have the time. I will not do so tomorrow though. I take Saturdays off, but apart from that, I'll take a look. Okay, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna end the recording as well here.